out for Why Me? Because from the first draft, how many drafts did you do for?
30.
Yeah.
30 drafts?
Yeah, I did
Wait, why? Is it because
I
it
did
was...
33.
Right, they say writers do writing.
Yeah.
Like you have to work.
No, but you done it by choice, or is it because of...
No, it's
okay.
like,
I'm writing a script,
Not by choice,
and then
It was by
feedback, and then I'm writing.
Yeah, you work.
feedback.
We have an editor that we sit with, and they give you homework. They tell you like that scene, like they might say that scene doesn't land the way it doesn't read the way you probably want it to. You might want to rewrite it and stuff. And it was so funny for me because at the beginning, I think after my third draft, I called Kobe. I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like he was like, girl, bye. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was easy, but I think me being an actress allowed me. So even though we did 30, I did 33 rewrites. The beginning, middle, and end was the same from beginning to the end. And I think because I knew the structure of scripts on like what it would look like visually because I've been on set. So when I was writing it, I was writing it from visually of like how this scene would work, how this scene would work. So all of that was there. So I didn't have to, all I had literally was just changing was like the words. I wasn't changing like the structure of it. So that helped me because I think if I had to keep like, and that's one thing that the compliments that I got very early on, like the structure was like it works. There's a middle, there's a beginning, there's an end. And that wasn't even intentional. And that was like, and I think that was just for me being an actress. Yeah, I don't think that was from anything. It's just from me reading scripts, me being on set, me filming, having a script and then being on set and seeing how it comes to life and then being able to adapt that like when I'm writing. So that definitely helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how was it, this is for the both of you, how was it working with Kobe? And then how did that all come together? Like, how did you know him? And then how did the workings of Why Me and Teju's Tale, how did that assemble?
Okay.
I mean, Kobe and I went to film school together.
London Film School?
Yeah, London Film School. So funny enough, he was graduating when I was just starting. But I went to his screening of House Girl and ended up sitting next to him, and also just started talking, just became friends from there. So like he's kind of supported my career from the jump. So when it came to Teju's Tale, it was literally, we had a conversation after Bound Cinema, shout out Bound Cinema, and he was basically like how I just need to do another film. I had done a film in Nigeria called Giddy High Life. So literally that night I went to bed, woke up the next morning, I just remembered the story that my grandma had told me when I was in Nigeria working, and God said, this is the script you should write. So I was like, okay, no problem. So I wrote the script, sent it over to Kobe. He's like, oh, this is amazing, let's get it done. I was like, okay, no problem. And then this was literally October 2019. Unfortunately, pandemic happens. Unfortunately, George Floyd gets murdered. And then as a result, Kobe pitched this idea of supporting 5 black filmmakers to Sky Studios to get their short films done. And they loved the idea and they jumped on board. So I guess the whole process of working with Kobe just happened very, very naturally, just because he is my friend outside of the work. And as a result, but he's also a very talented filmmaker at the same time. So he's been able to help and support and critique and praise when need be, but have that balance of knowing, just tell me exactly what I need to hear to get my scripts forward and I get it done. So yeah, it's been a very, very, very fulfilling relationship with regards to understanding as a filmmaker how I can better myself. So yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Well, what about
I
you?
didn't know Kobe. It was so funny because we have so many mutuals, and even like after we met, we're like, "Oh, we never met before." So we met on Twitter in the pandemic. So basically, yeah. So it was so funny. And that was so basically in the pandemic. That's when I decided I wanted to write. I was like, right then, God, I'll do it. like he's been poking me with like this writing bug from like 2016, and I was very much against it. I was like, and I didn't want to learn a new skill. I was like, get somebody else to do it. I was like, no, and it was just there. So pandemic, I was just kind of like, well, the world's falling apart. I might as well. So I got connected. I did a mentoring course, and I got connected with my mentor. And she's been so instrumental in my career. And it's so crazy because when you look back, and I'm like, everything that happened was just good. Like God needed me to meet my mentor first before I met Kobe. So basically, I met my mentor, and she just believed in me off the bat. And I was thinking, is this someone paying this woman to believe in me? Because why is she going so hard?
That's what Kobe was thinking.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I was thinking, you don't even know me like that. Like, relax. Like, so I remember I told her I wanted to write, and then literally, I think it was like the next day, she started sending me all these like writing opportunities, and I was thinking, I haven't even like written it. Yeah, I haven't even thought of an idea or anything. So that same week, Kobe had a tweet saying he because of like the pandemic, he wants to give back to new writers and stuff. So he was looking to connect with anyone as a new writer. So my mentor sent it to me, and she was like, I want you to reply to that, send an email to that tweet and send me proof. And I was like, oh my God, what does this woman want from me? Like, it was literally that kind of, like, she literally flogged me. And I remember that time before sending an email being so petrified. I was like, technically you haven't written, so you're not a writer. But I was like, okay, just do it. So I sent an email, and then I got an email back from one of his assistants saying, okay, yeah, he's doing a Zoom, and you're one of the people that are going to be in the Zoom. So I went into the Zoom, and I remember just before going into the Zoom, I told myself to just make sure I ask a question. And I was just like, so he did all of his like talking and stuff, and I was just like, oh, if you wanted to make a short film, like how much would it like cost? And he was like, oh, I'll get back to that. But I remember he never answered the question. So I came off the Zoom thinking, but this guy didn't even answer the question. So I actually went on Google. I was like, how much does it cost to make a short film? Then I saw like 30 grand. I was like, okay, maybe not. So I sat down, and then I reached out to him after like a Zoom, just to say I really enjoyed the Zoom. And then we jumped on a call, and then I spoke to him about this idea that I had for a TV show. And he was like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. I think it was 2 days later, then he called me. Wasn't even thinking anything of it. And he was just like, I've really been thinking about your idea. What would you think about like making a short film version of it? And I was just like, yeah, that could work. And he was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be for Sky, by the way. And I was like, jeez. I was like, what did you
imagine just slipped to the Sky like nothing.
Yeah,
you just like, yeah, by the way, it's on Sky.
Because I was already in my head trying to like, how are we gonna make it into a short film?
After £30,000.
Yeah, because in my head the idea that I had was for a series. It was just never gonna work as a short film. So in my head I was just like, how am I gonna make that work? And then when he said Sky, and I was just like, so I came off the phone and I literally
I'm gonna make that work.
Yeah, it was so funny. And I hadn't written anything before that. I just had ideas of like twirling around. So I remember I went on Google after I came off the phone to Kobe, and I was like, how to write a script.
But you see, what you did, is what a lot of people don't realise that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
you
people,
just talk.
They take themselves out of an opportunity because they believe they can't do it.
Yeah.
See, I'm not going to expose myself. But like, I know the number of things I've been asked to do. But because I've heard of someone else, I didn't know how to do something. I said yes, and they was going to learn how to do it, and then made sure they performed.
Yeah.
Like
now I have that approach. Yeah.
So now I have that approach. Like, can you? Yeah, of course I can. Then I'll go and do all my research, do all my learning, and then do the work. I'm not saying don't do the work, but it's like people need to learn how to.
Especially if you know you're someone that some people learn differently. Like I learn greatly I learn on the job. There's some people that they can study, they can watch this, they can go to seminars. Like every single job I've done, like I'm a practical learner. I learn the amount of things that I learned in the process of Why Me. I don't even think it would probably take me 5 years to learn that if I was to go to like, I don't know, try to do seminars and stuff like that. So it's like,
I agree.
That was like very instrumental for me. But yeah, no, off to going back to Kobe as well. But it was really instrumental me meeting Kobe, because I feel, and I always say this, I feel like Kobe made me decide the type of writer that I wanted to be, because I just wanted to write. I hadn't thought about what I wanted people to feel when they watched my film or read my script. Like I hadn't gone that far ahead. So I feel like us meeting and like working through Why Me together definitely like just inspired me into like knowing what type of writer I want to be. And especially it was actually his idea to include my health in Why Me, because the original idea was just meant to be about this. It was meant to be a girl on a train station. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, that's what was like the first original idea.
There's the 30 drafts, people.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like the first original idea when I just told him about like kind of something I went through, and I was like, I think this would make a really good show, and he was like, I think this would be funny as well. So it was meant to be just like a dark comedy, and I remember then he had a conversation. It was after a time like I was just getting sick back to back, and every time I would speak to him, I was like, I'm in hospital. Well, I was trying to write a draft, and I was like, I've got a deadline this week, but I'm in hospital. I'm going to get it done. And he spoke to me. He was like, oh, like, you're always in hospital, but you're always laughing, and you're always kind of like, why don't you like include your health into your script? I was like, impossible. Like, I'm not doing that. And it was just after like speaking about it, and he was like, I've learned so much about your health just from like this short space that you've been in my life, and like just from the process of like writing the script. And I think this would like benefit so many people that, and I was like, yeah, I don't think that's my role. I was just like, no. And I remember saying, even if like my first script was my first script, I never wanted it to be about my health. It was just like, let me write something else. I was like, maybe in the future. And then it was just on my heart, and God was just kind of like, no, you need to. And I didn't want to. And I've kind of, even though I didn't want to, I did it. And I think it was probably by like draft, I don't know, 25, when I'd like started crying, when I was like writing it and healing and releasing and just realizing that, yeah, okay, I need to. And then watching at the screening, and then just how people reacted to it. And I literally have him to thank for that, because I would have never, ever. So now that's just inspired me. I want people to feel. Like, that's so important to me when I write. Like, regardless what the topic is, I want people to feel, like, to sit. Because I feel like when you're a filmmaker, you're a writer, you have, like, people's attention for however long. And you decide, and, like, you can make them laugh, you can make them cry, you can make them whatever. But I was just like, I really want people to feel. I want people to feel like, shit, that character, like, I couldn't have got through that day. Or, like, what would I do if I was in their shoes? So, like, yeah, that really, really helped me. Because I think if I didn't meet Kobe at the beginning of my writing career, I think I would probably be writing aimlessly for, like, 5 years. And in 5 years later, I'd be like, wait, what are we writing? And why are we writing? And what are we writing about? So I feel like that, it saved me many years in development. Just knowing what you want to write about. And, like, yeah, I think I answered the question, I hope.
Yeah, no, you did. You did. So